How's it going, YouTube? So today's quote-unquote unboxing is brought to you by the Empire Guy, may he rest in peace, and Red's Wicked Black Cherry. So here we go. I've already taken the liberty of removing the shrink wrap from this box. This is the Remix Mini. It is a small, tiny, quote-unquote PC that runs Android, Remix OS to be specific. It was a Kickstarter that I backed a few months ago, and today I received it in the mail. It's kind of a neat device in that it behaves like a traditional desktop operating system, but it is Android. So, like I said, I already took the liberty of removing the shrink wrap and breaking the seals. So let's go ahead and open this up. And inside we have this card. It is the date that it was manufactured, so you can see there, 2015, October 26th, so not all that long ago. And we have a product description warranty card, or pamphlet I should say. Don't need that. And the quick start guide. So it doesn't have a physical button, which is kind of neat, as in moving parts button. I guess you just touch the top there where it says Remix and it turns on. So this is it. It is fairly tiny. It fits in the palm of my hand, and it's fairly lightweight. It has two USB 2.0 ports in the back, so they're not 3.0. It's kind of a shame, but you know, I understand they're trying to keep the cost as low as possible. I mean, this is sub $100 for, you know, device, so I want to keep the cost down as low as possible. And Ethernet, and I do believe that this is 100 base, so it's not gigabit. And it does have a full-size HDMI port and a TF or micro SD card. And right there you can see the headphone jack has a little emblem on it that suggests that it also does accommodate microphone. So presumably it'll support, you know, the 3-prong plugs with the left and right channel and microphone in. So that's also a nice added feature. So that's cool. So we'll go ahead and set this aside momentarily and get rid of that. Alright. So inside of the box we have another box, and we'll see what's in this one. Go ahead and pull the styrofoam out of it, and we have HDMI cable, so you can never have too many of those. We'll set that off to the side. And in the other box, again, more styrofoam. Pull that off to the side, and we have the power supply. So you'll need a keyboard and a mouse when you're setting this up. And I think the first initial setup does have to be a USB keyboard and mouse. I think after that you can switch over and just use a Bluetooth one if that's what you want to use. But for the initial setup, I think it does have to be a USB device. So let's go ahead and get this thing hooked up. And but before we do that, let's go ahead and look at the back of the box. Sorry. The back of the box kind of just has some random specs. So if you're the type of person that's interested in specs, you can see there. I picked it up because it has HEVC 4K support, or H.265. So if anybody that's currently running a home theater PC and you want something with a slightly lower footprint as far as power consumption, this should be a nice device for that, because it will hardware decode H.265 4K video, so that's obviously nice. And there were two models released. One was a 1 gig with 8 gig of storage, I believe. So 1 gig of RAM, 8 gig of storage. And the second is a 2 gig of RAM and 16 gig of internal storage. And I opted for the slightly more expensive 2 gig of RAM. So that's what we have here. So let's go ahead and get this thing plugged in and take a look at it. Alright, so I got my camera pointed right at the screen, so the colors aren't going to look quite right, and you might see some weird discoloration, but I just plugged in the power for the Remix Mini, and this is the initial screen. It's asking for the language, and I am actually using a wireless keyboard and mouse from Lenovo. It's a kind of a home theater PC thing where it's got a trackpad in the center, or a trackball I should say, and then just small keys, nothing too fancy. So I got that plugged in. It's wireless. It has a USB dongle type thing attached to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go through the initial setup here for the Remix Mini. And user agreement. I'm sure everything's above board there. Adjust the display area. It's already maxed out, so we'll just hit next. And I got it plugged in over Ethernet. I think it does wireless, and I'm not sure if it does wireless AC. So, but I do have it plugged in over Ethernet. So let's go ahead and get into the actual OS of it. And it's actually pretty nice looking. I don't know of any other Android variants that kind of tackle the traditional desktop PC like Remix OS does. So that's definitely appealing. We'll go ahead and click on what, if you were on Windows, would normally be the start button, and we get, it does have Google Play, so that's obviously a huge plus. It's a pretty, nice looking OS. Give me a second here to play around with it, and I probably want to load up ES file manager onto it so I could actually access some network storage and maybe VLC. So let's go ahead and download that, and we'll get back into it in a second. Alright guys, again, you're seeing some weird discoloration because of the camera not playing nice with my TV setup, because I am literally just recording off of the TV, and it's 1080p plasma, nothing fancy. It's a bit old at this point. So the color discoloration that you're seeing, more than likely you're seeing, is actually not present on the screen. So to me, everything looks beautiful. I apologize for the crap quality. I'm just recording off of the screen. But I played around with it for about 10 or 15 minutes here, and I'm impressed by how smooth and quick everything is. I think that's a combination of the Ethernet port. Obviously, you're not, you don't have any of the cumbersomeness that comes with Wi-Fi when you're using a cell phone or something like that, or your 4G. So the fact that I have a direct copper connection to my 75 megabit down Comcast internet definitely improves the downloading and the quick response time whenever you're viewing a web page. And the decent processor and whatnot also helps, obviously. But I'm just not used to having that type of responsiveness from my Android device. So that's very nice to see. So right now I'm accessing a network attached drive. So this is just a couple test clips I have here. This right here that you see my mouse pointer on right now is a 1080p 60 frame per second HEVC, aka H.265 encoded video clip. This is the same exact clip, but in 4K. Also HEVC, also 60 frames per second. Now, it should not have any problem playing this back. It's just 1080p, but it shouldn't have a problem playing it back. This, I'm not so certain. It should be able to play back 4K video clips, but I think it's only at 30 frames per second. So this is 60 frames per second video clip, so it might choke when I try to play this back. But let's go ahead and click on it and see what happens, because I'm interested, as I did purchase this to sort of replace my aging WD TV So that's the primary purpose for why I picked this up. I'm gonna go ahead and just go with the default video player that came with the device. I do have VLC attached, but this is what came with it. So let's go ahead and play it with the application that is shipped with. So let's click on that. And it's playing back fairly smoothly. I'm not seeing any hiccups. And you can tell it's a 60 frame per second clip. It's very smooth. That's playing back actually much nicer than I was anticipating. So that's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and back out, and I'm curious about how well it's going to play back the 4K clip at 60 frames per second. Like I said, I don't think it's going to play back very well. So let's go ahead and get into it. If I can X out of this. Alright, there we go. So let's go back to ES so we can navigate to our network storage. Alright, and let's play that one back. Again, we're going to choose the default video playback application. And there's definitely slight hiccup in the very beginning. And it's not rendering as smoothly. And this is the 1080p TV, but as far as the device is concerned, it still has to render the 4K file in 4K before it shoots it out at 1080p. So I'm watching it, and there is some slight hiccuping. There's some frames being dropped. It's not as smooth as the 1080p 60. And unfortunately, I could not find the 30 frame 4K version of this Buck Bunny open source film. So I would like to have had a 30 frames just to make sure that it could actually play back HEVC at 30 frames. But at 60 frame 4K HEVC file, it's playing it back okay. I mean, there was some drop frames in the beginning, and you could see a hiccup from time to time, but it actually does not look all that bad. I wonder if it took a few seconds to free up some system resources to allow it to play back, because actually now it's looking pretty smooth. I'm actually kind of impressed that it was able to do this. I don't have a 4K TV right now, and I don't think I will for at least another 2 years, but I have been re-encoding my Blu-rays into HEVC, so I wanted something that could play that back, just because HEVC, it will cut your files sizes down by 30 to 40%. So it was worth the effort of me going back and re-encoding all the Blu-rays I have into HEVC. But unfortunately, when I did that, my WD-TV just doesn't have the horsepower, or actually the hardware capability, to play that back. So I had been using a Fire TV, the newest one, and that does an okay job, but it has its own quirks. So, this might be my saving grace. This might be my the thing that replaces my WD TVs. It looks great. I mean, in the very beginning it was stuttering, but right now it's actually holding up pretty nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and just for the sake of it, I'm just gonna go ahead and run Antutu benchmark just out of curiosity, just because I know some people have an interest in that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video real quick, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and have a Antutu benchmark score. So let's go ahead and go to that. Alright guys, so I just wrapped up with the Antutu benchmark. I let it run to completion, and you can see there that the score is just shy of 24,000, which isn't particularly great for any modern device. And I'm actually kind of surprised that the scores are that low, given the smoothness of the actual operating system. So either the operating system is incredibly well written and efficient, or benchmark scores don't mean shit. So it's up to you to decide. So I figure let's go ahead and get out of here, and I guess we just kind of browse around. You can see that it's not multiple desktops or screens like it would normally be with an Android device. You could usually have multiple desktop screens and scroll between them back and forth. And whenever you install a application like any other Android device, you get it in the home screen, but you have to double click to actually get it to launch, just like you would in a traditional desktop operating system. So that's kind of nice that that sort of stuff carries over. So if you're coming from Windows or from Ubuntu or something like that, it'll feel fairly familiar. It launches, it comes with a couple of applications already pre-installed. Like I said, it does have Google Play, so you could have access to any, I'm sure almost any previous application that you've purchased before. So that's also an added plus, so there's no need to hack around to get that going. And it does have built-in Bluetooth. I have not tested this, but according to the developers, they say that most touchscreen monitors will be supported. So if you have a touchscreen monitor, you can plug it in, connect a USB cable between the monitor and the Remix Mini, and you'll be able to use it, pretty much like you would any traditional tablet. So that's also kind of nice if you, let's say you have a 28-inch touchscreen monitor and you want to play, touchscreen games. That should, in theory, work right out of the box with no problems. It does only have an HDMI output, so if you have VGA, it's not going to work out of the box. You could try some HDMI to VGA adapters. Maybe that'll bring you some luck. But like I said, right now I am just hooked up over HDMI straight to my receiver, which is connected to my 1080p plasma, and it works pretty well. Again, the weird colors that you're seeing, it's because of the camera not really liking possibly the refresh rate on my TV or something, I don't know. But to me, it looks crystal clear, it looks good. So, I mean, all in all, I'm pretty stoked with it. Like I said, I wanted to pick this up just as a way for me to play back video files, mainly the Blu-rays and DVDs that I have ripped from my server. So I think it'll work out okay. I know that there was some problems with Kodi running on it, so I know the first thing everybody wants to do is kind of just install Kodi on it and get that working. I haven't tried it out, but I do know that there are some issues that have to do with the specific chipset that was used, manufactured by Allwinner. In theory, everything should work, but there, sort of a hissy fit between Allwinner and Kodi, the developers from Kodi. So I assume that that's going to get worked out eventually, and everything will play nice. So if you're interested in a desktop Android PC that could play back HEVC files beautifully, this might be the device for you. If you want something from mom that she could use to get on the internet and get her email without having to worry about the burdens that come with a traditional Windows operating system of antivirus and that type of stuff, then this might also be a nice alternative and might be something you might want to consider. So that's pretty much it, guys. I guess check it out. Remix Mini, running the Remix OS. Kickstarter is long and done, but I'm pretty sure you could probably start picking these up. I imagine they're going to start selling them through their online store. So if you just Google Remix Mini, I'm sure you come up with something. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much, and sorry for the terrible everything, and have a good one, guys.